Hello, everyone. It's Wednesday, November the 3rd. We've had an additional 40 deaths since Monday. I ask you to join me in respect and honor for these great West Virginians that we've lost. I'll go through them right now. Our 4,451st death is a 72-year-old male from Boone County. Our 4,452nd death is a 77-year-old female from Berkeley County. Our 4,453rd death, an 86-year-old female from Wayne County. Our 4,454th death, a 70-year-old male from Logan County. Our 4,455th death is a 64-year-old female from Lewis County. Our 4,456th death is a 79-year-old male from Jefferson County. Our 4,457th death is a 64-year-old male from Harrison County. Our 4,458th death is a 79-year-old female from Logan County. Our 4,459th death is a 62-year-old male from Mason County. Our 4,460th death is a 75-year-old female from Harrison County. Our 4,461st death is an 84-year-old female from Cabell County. Our 4,462nd death is a 45-year-old female from Greenbrier County. Our 4,463rd death is a 90-year-old female from Marion County. Our 4,464th death is an 86-year-old female from Gilmer County. Our 4,465th death is a 77-year-old female from Raleigh County. Our 4,466th death is a 28-year-old female from Wyoming County. 28 years old. Our 4,467th death is a 44-year-old male from Wyoming County. Our 4,468th death is a 60-year-old female from Wyoming County. Our 4,469th death is a 64-year-old male from Wyoming County. Our 4,470th death is a 78-year-old male from Fayette County. Our 4,471st death is a 47-year-old male from Barber County. Our 4,472nd death is a 54-year-old male from Morgan County. Our 4,473rd death is a 40-year-old female from Marshall County. Our 4,474th death is a 91-year-old female from Fayette County. Our 4,475th death, another 40-year-old from female from Brooke County. Our 4,476th death is a 70-year-old female from Mason County. Our 4,477th death, a 72-year-old male from Monongalia County. Our 4,478th death, an 86-year-old female from Cabell County. Our 4,479th death, a 76-year-old female from Harrison County. Our 4,480th death, a 66-year-old male from Lincoln County. Our 4,481st death, a 72-year-old female from Harrison County. Our 4,482nd death, a 71-year-old male from Harrison County. Our 4,483rd death, another 40-year-old male from Hancock County. Our 4,484th death, an 88-year-old male from Kanawha County. Our 4,485th death, a 63-year-old female from Cabell County. Our 4,486th death, a 57-year-old female from Mingo County. Our 4,487th death is a 72-year-old male from Wood County. Our 4,488th death, a 61-year-old male from Harrison County. Our 4,489th death is a 66-year-old male from Kanawha County. And West Virginia has now lost 4,490 people. The 4,490th death is an 83-year-old female from Kanawha County. I wish I had something that I could tell you other than to go get vaccinated. You know, I wish we had more alternatives. 92.2% of the deaths in West Virginia are people that weren't vaccinated. All we do in life every day is stack the odds as best we possibly can in our favor as we go forward and enjoy this incredibly difficult but good journey through life. If you're trying to do just that, stack the odds in your favor. 92.2% of the people that have died are unvaccinated. It just makes all the sense in the world to be vaccinated. Our active cases are 6,635. That's down, way down from 30,000 it was not long ago. We have 849 new positive cases, and our daily positivity rate is at 6.29. Our cumulative positive rate is at 6.12. We have 263,000 plus people that have recovered. We have 561 folks that are hospitalized now. That's way down. Still have 184 in the ICU units and 103 on ventilators. Both those numbers are down, but still, you know, we know that people are really still struggling. We have 6 green counties in our state. We have about 20% of those folks that are hospitalized are vaccinated. What does it tell us? It tells us absolutely that we need to get our booster shots, because a lot of the people that are, I'm sure, that are hospitalized have not gotten their booster shot, and and this immunity that we get from these shots and these vaccinations wears down. And as it wears down and literally gets to a number that is really not good, you know, to where you've got a 15 to a 30% protection level, you need a booster shot. And if you choose not to get it, you may very well be one of these that gets really sick. We have 41 outbreaks in 19 counties and 630 kids now confirmed cases in our school system. I remind everybody over and over about being 65 years of age. Now, I sound like a broken record, but if you're 65 and you get any symptom whatsoever, you need to go get a test. The antibodies will save your life. If you don't go get that test and you absolutely get out, you know, 7 to 10 days and you really find out, uh-oh, I'm really sick and I've really got this, you're in real trouble. Just plain and simple, you're in real trouble. I encourage you about wearing face coverings if you're 65 and above and you're going into a crowd of people indoors, and especially people you don't know, and especially if you have any compromising issues, whether it be lung or heart or whatever, diabetes, whatever it may be, you need to think really, really hard about wearing a mask to protect yourself. The Pfizer COVID vaccine has now been officially approved for children from ages 5 through 12. We're ready to go, and we've been joined today by a guest, Dr. Jessica McCauley. I think I've pronounced that correctly, but she's from Cabin Creek Health Systems, a community health clinic in the Charleston area. She's joining us live today to talk to us about the approval of this vaccine for children's ages 5 through 11. And she's also going to, share with us a little treat, with her own 7-year-old son. So nevertheless, Dr. McCauley, please, come on.
Good afternoon, Governor Justice. Thank you so much for having us. This is Jacob Thomas. Jacob, how old are you?
7.5.
7.5. And so in your home, who can't be vaccinated yet?
My baby sister, Eloise.
His baby sister, Eloise. So thank you so much for doing this for Eloise. Okay, what are we doing today?
I'm going to get my COVID shot.
He's going to get his first COVID shot. So Jacob is receiving the Pfizer vaccine. The 5 to 11-year-olds will receive about a third of the dose of adults. So it's 10 micrograms, whereas adults are 33 micrograms for Pfizer. So we know that their immune systems are so much better than ours. I'm going to do a little cleaning here. So all of the studies have proven that they gain a robust immune response from just that 10 micrograms. So we're getting ready to go, okay, buddy? We have our Spider-Man Band-Aid. Okay, are you ready? Gonna be a big pinch, and here we go, buddy. Good job, 1, 2, 3. All done. All right, Jacob Thomas, do an Iron Man high five, buddy. Oh,
I love
good job.
I'm going to set this little guy to
And he's setting his timer for 15 minutes.
Yeah, 15
This is little
minutes.
Perry the penguin.
Oh, that's so good, so good. Jason, I'm really proud of you. You know, can you see me? Can he see me on the screen?
He can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Let me tell you, as you see my hair, what color's my hair?
White.
Well, let me tell you this, when I was your age, my hair was your color. You know.
Oh, look at that.
I know, look how big your eyes are. You know. But nevertheless, really proud of you, really, really proud. And Doc, thank you so much. And Jason, that didn't hurt hardly at all, did it?
No, Jacob, he's a strong guy. He's get to pick out some Legos for doing this today.
I'm going to be
Okay.
R2D2 Legos.
Thank you so much for having us.
No, thank you guys.
Yep, and Cabin Creek Health Systems, we're in all of Kanawha County. We have 6 health center sites, so come see us.
Well, listen, hold on here just 1 second. Come here, baby. Come here. I got my little buddy is here with me. Come here.
Do you have baby dog?
I do. Can y'all see baby dog down here? Because she's a load. Can y'all see her?
I can't.
There she
Oh,
is.
there
There she is. She's, oh, don't
Baby
sit.
dog.
She's so proud of y'all. She's so proud of you, girl. I mean, Jason, thank you, buddy.
I have a dog.
Yeah?
He's an Australian cow dog.
Oh, okay. Well, he's a little bigger. He's a little bigger than baby dog then. But baby dog loves you so much. Thank you for getting this. Thank you now.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having us again.
All right. Bye-bye. Oh, that was really good. Really, really good. Really tickled, you know, for that young man and that wonderful doc. And that's as simple as it is. And we feel like that he's really getting a level of protection from future side effects and everything. We want to be, as I've said a billion times, we want to be totally respectful to everybody's views and opinions and everything. And we don't want to invade on what's made this country absolutely great, and that's just that, it's been our freedoms, it's been our right to be able to speak up and have an opinion on what we do and what we don't do in this country, but at the same time, we know from the medical community that this is best, and so to that young man, we congratulate him, that wonderful doc, the same thing, and we just keep at it. Real quick, you know, the boosters are available for Moderna, J&J, Pfizer, all of it now. You know, I encourage you, if you've lost your card and you're 6 months out and whatever like that, call DHHR. We'll get you another card. We keep moving and inching up. You know, we got 5,603 people since the last briefing. 5,603 doses were given since the last briefing. That's pretty good. And we're at 67.5% of the people from 12 and older, and now we'll have to drop back, and now we'll go from 5 and older. You know, but 67.5% of the 12 and olders have had their first shot. 83.6% of the 50 and olders have had their first shot, and 94.6% of the 65 and olders have had their first shot. That's good. Vaccine eligibility is now going to drop to 5, but you know, as of this briefing, I guess this morning, you know, we just found out, you know, that, well, we knew, you know, that we were going to 5, you know, on that age and through Pfizer. That's good. I encourage our parents and grandparents to help me get our kids vaccinated. You know, it is going to get colder. And absolutely, you know, through all of that, you know, this is the very best way to protect those children. You know, the COVID vaccine info line is up there. I remind our grandfamilies to take advantage of this voucher, you know, the voucher program that'll get you to $150, you know, for you know, school vouchers for these kids, and you've got 19,000 of them in your care, and if you could help us get those kids vaccinated as well as all of you guys and everything, it would be really good. You know, I remind you that the testing is all free. I always thank Frith and I thank Walgreens for all that they've done. We have 39 outbreaks in our long-term care facilities. That's down a little bit. The church communities still do phenomenal. One outbreak still in Nicholas County. Corrections still absolutely great, phenomenally good work. 58 inmates and 31 staff cases at this time. That's a fraction of what they could have been, of what they've been at times and everything. We want it to go all the way back down. At one point in time, we only had one. I remind you about your flu vaccine. Don't go to sleep at the switch and not get your flu shots. You can get it at the same time as a COVID shot. But you ought to get that vaccine. I remind you over and over and over about the rental assistance program that is for renters, it's for landlords. We've absolutely got significant dollars there that we could get in the hands of West Virginians. All you got to do is call us, and we'll see if you qualify, and there's a good chance you will, and we'll be able to send you some of those dollars. Now, I'm going to read this whole thing to you. This is really great stuff right here. The West Virginia Computer Science Education Progress. Now think about this. Today I'm happy to announce that West Virginia is among the top 10, again, the top 10 states nationwide to offer a foundational computer science courses to all of our public school students. This announcement is part of the annual state computer science education report by the Computer Science Teachers Associations and other groups. 76% of West Virginia's public schools offered foundational computer science courses last school year, a significant increase over the past 3 years when only 46% of the schools provided these courses. Now just think about it. In the last 3 years, now we're up to 76%. 87% of the West Virginia students that attended high school had at least one computer science class last year. West Virginia is a pioneer in creating a computer science K through 12 pathway for all students. Doesn't it sound good for West Virginia to continue to be the pioneer? You know, I said in my very first State of the State address, I said we absolutely have got to make education our centerpiece. Now, why did I do that? The reason I did that primarily was this. You know, I love kids. I want them to have the greatest education and the greatest possibilities and the greatest hope and opportunity that they can possibly have. There's no question that that's true. But in addition to that, the biggest obstacle that we had in West Virginia at that time was our image. We knew how good we were here. We knew how good our schools are and how good, you know, our teachers and all the service personnel and administrators, everybody that works there. We knew that. But absolutely, we know we can get better. There's no question that we can get better. But absolutely, people on the outside still looked at West Virginia as backward and poor and dingy and everything that's negative that you could possibly be. We had to change. And the reason that I said we need to make education our centerpiece is that is the very first thing that people would look at and criticize West Virginia about, and the very first thing that they would look down upon us. That's how the people have been. Not today, not today. Now today, all of a sudden, all this goodness is happening. Why do you think all the goodness is happening? We just didn't roll off a pickle truck. I mean, for crying out loud. The reason all this goodness is happening is we made the right moves on the chessboard. We pushed the right buttons, and now we really got it going on in West Virginia. And now, instead of people looking down on us, people are amazed about the diamond in the rough that they missed. And now they see really the beauty and the greatness of this state in every way. So we want to just keep that up. Senate Bill 267, which I signed on February the 11th, 2019, charged the Department of Education with reaching all West Virginia students with computer science classes. This law makes West Virginia one of the first states to require all students to start their computer science education in elementary school. It's great stuff. Great stuff in little old West Virginia. Little old West Virginia. It's really, really good stuff. You know, our state parks are offering a discount right now to all of our veterans and everything, and the discount will run on bookings through March 31st of 2022. It's 50% off lodging, you know, and absolutely it is a fabulous deal. But absolutely, should we not do it? Should we not do it? You know, we're just days away from Veterans Day. Just think what our veterans have given, and I say it on and on every day. Every single time I'm asked this question, I say the same thing. We owe every single thing in life we have in this great country to our veterans and to our active military as well. So many gave the ultimate sacrifice, but so many gave so much. And what do they ask? I say it over and over. They ask almost nothing. I ask for your prayers for Woody Williams right now. I understand he's recovering. He's doing pretty good. But he's still having a tough time, and he's given so much, you know, to our Gold Star families and on and on and on. You know, what a champion. You know, the Medal of Honor recipient, you know, what a champion, you know, and what a hero. So nevertheless, we want to treat our veterans, and we're going to do that. That's great stuff. And yesterday, my last thing is yesterday I went around the state, and we had a lot of driving yesterday. We started out here with a bunch of really important meetings with a bank, you know, the Truist Bank, and they bought out BB&T, and now their SunTrust and BB&T has come together to form Truist. If you were watching the World Series, you know, you saw that they were, I guess, one of the leading sponsors of the World Series, and you know, we congratulate the Atlanta Braves. It was a really exciting series and everything. You talk about a comeback kid team. I mean, you know, just think about all that they've been through with all the injuries and everything. They didn't quit. Think about their manager. Think about their manager, a man that had been with the organization for 45 years. And finally, someone gave him the opportunity to coach and be the manager of a major league team. And so he took over, and now he can call himself a world champion. You know, it was an incredible win for an incredible city and everything. It's had some tough licks and everything, but nevertheless, we were really, really happy for him, and what a great, great, great moment. But in all of that, you know, yesterday we started today. Like I said, we started here and met with those folks from Truist that are coming to West Virginia, and they spoke of this, and I think it'd be okay for me to share this with you, but they spoke of community and doing phenomenal work and having a real life commitment to community. You know, one of the biggest things that we had a great discussion with their CEO about was he loved the fact that, you know, what we were doing with communities and schools, and absolutely wanted to try to expand on that idea and to try to do more and more and more within our schools, because he brought up an amazing statistic. And it's really sad, really, really sad. He said an incredible percentage of our third graders today can't read. You know, now if you'll just step back and think about it, you know, his commitment was he wants to do more and more and more as a bank. You don't run into this very often, you know. People, you know, talk the talk, but oftentimes don't walk the walk, do they? He's talking about how involved the employees of Truist are in community and doing things to really better us in education and better us in every aspect of community. Well, it was a great discussion, a discussion not just about, the financial ends of stuff, but a lot of discussion about community. And so Kelly and all those that were there, I really appreciate you. It was really good stuff, and I took it to heart, and I'm going to run with it, and we'll be back to you, and surely, we'll open the doors on communities and schools and try to help you in any way we can, to just better our kids and better our community. So again, I thank you so much for coming. But after we met here and everything, we left here, we went to Minden. Then we left Minden, we went to Craigsville. Then we left Craigsville, we went to Marlington, then we left Marlington and ended up in Alderson, West Virginia. We were giving away the grants that were the federal grants for the funding for the hazard mitigation. It was $65.8 million. You know, absolutely, it's staggering to think of a community like Marlington, all like 8.8 million, and I don't have the dollars right in front of me. You know, in areas of Minden, millions of dollars. The same thing in Craigsville. You know, from the standpoint of, you know, Rainelle, $9 million. You know, from the standpoint of Alderson, $9 million. From the standpoint of Ronceverte, $8 million. It was all across the southern end of the state and everything that were impacted in a major way with the floods of 2016 or the flood of 2016. There was lots of other areas, you know, whether it be at Hinton or at Marshall or wherever it was, you know, lots of other areas and lots of other grants went out and everything. I think there was 18 total of them, and I've just touched on a few that were the very, you know, just, you know, the areas that we touched yesterday. You can't go everywhere. But these were the community development block grants, the mitigation program, and you know, it's good stuff, really great stuff. More and more good stuff on the way to West Virginia, and so we're just going to keep at it. Good stuff happening. Let's just keep it going. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Governor. Let's now go to Dr. Clay Marsh, our coronavirus czar.
Well, good afternoon, and as the governor has said today, we celebrate the decision by the Centers for Disease Control to bring vaccines to our 5 to 11-year-old West Virginia residents. And as we saw, Jacob was a role model for many others. And just remember, spread in children with the Delta variant of COVID-19 is like it is in adults, except that children tend to be asymptomatic much more frequently than adults do. We know that 8,300 children 5 to 11 years old have been hospitalized with COVID-19, and 44% of the very complex multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, 44% occurs in children 5 to 11 years old, which can be a really devastating complication of COVID-19 in this age group. So to control the spread of COVID-19 and to protect our children, the FDA and the CDC have both looked at all the data and using a lower dose of the vaccine, a third of the dose, 10 micrograms as opposed to 30 micrograms with the Pfizer vaccine. The preliminary studies did not demonstrate any complications like heart inflammation in this group of children. So with that really good news, we hope that all parents take an opportunity and advantage to protect your child in this age group. And vaccines are being delivered today, and pay attention to your local providers and contact them to make sure that those are available for you where you live. Another point I want to make is there's a really important study that came out of Israel and was published in a very highly thought of medical journal called The Lancet. And in this study, the country of Israel looked at about 730,000 people who had all been vaccinated with both doses of Pfizer. And one group of this 728,000 people received a booster, and one group did not. And what the study showed was really quite remarkable, and it gives us great insight onto the real importance of boosters in West Virginia. What they found was there was a 93% reduction in hospitalization for those Israelis that got the booster versus the ones that didn't. And this is 5 months after the second dose in Israel. There was a 92% protection of people who got the booster from being put on a mechanical ventilator. And there was an 81% reduction in deaths. In the group that didn't get the boosters, there was 44 deaths. In the group that got the boosters, there was only 7 deaths. And in Israel, they showed this benefit was all the way down to 40 years old. And that was true for men and women. So it really does underscore and emphasize the very, very important opportunity that we have in our population. Remember, we were the first in the country to finish our nursing home residents full vaccinations and assisted living. And we were among the first in the country to vaccinate our elders. And as we've said over and over again, being older, being over 60, 65, 70, 75, really dramatically increases your risk of having severe consequences of an infection with COVID-19 and dying. So we think it's really important not only for us to vaccinate our youngest part of our population, but also equally and perhaps even more acutely important to make sure that everybody who's in that group of people in the Israel study over 40 years old, make sure that you get your booster, again, 6 months in the United States after your Pfizer or Moderna vaccine, or 2 months after your Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And we know that is so effective in reducing your risk of severe illness and dying from COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marsh. Dr. Aina Amjad, our State Health Officer, and Secretary Bill Crouch of the DHHR are also joining us today and are available for questions. Retired Major General Jim Hoyer had a prior engagement and will rejoin us on Friday. We'll now go to questions from members of the media. The first today from Charles Young with WV News.
Hi, this is Charles Young with WV News. Governor, you had previously talked about the possibility of doing another lottery or some kind of incentive aimed at this new youngest age group, our 5 to 11. Could you tell us about those plans and or any other new strategies to, reach this age group and convince parents to take these kids to get their shots? Thank you.
Okay, Charles, I couldn't quite hear you and everything. Forgive me, but I think your question was, I talked earlier about maybe coming out with another incentive type program. Is that right to address especially the younger kids? Mm-hmm. Okay. I just want to make sure I got that right. Charles, we haven't quite put it all together and everything, but we've moved along a goodly little bit and everything, and I think I think you'll see that roll out the first of next week. But I do think that I mean just think about this. I think since today is Wednesday, since Monday we had 5,603 shots that were given. I mean that's real progress, and it's not what we want, but it's progress. And absolutely through all this, we have slowly but surely ticked up and up and up. And so, as far as we do have the dollars and finding some way that can be directed even more at the kids and everything, and let the kids see us out there more and more talking to the kids and everything. We're really close to having that put together, and I'd say on Monday we'll announce it.
All right, thank you, Charles. Next to Kenny Bass with WCHS and Fox 11.
Hello, thank you for taking my question. Dr. Marsh or Governor Justice, do you think with the advent of vaccines for children 5 to 11 years old, we may see some movement throughout West Virginia's counties and the school systems on whether they'll be revising their mask policies now that there is an opportunity for children who are as young as 5 to get the vaccine, where before there was not? I know that you've said that you want to keep it on the local level, Governor, but would there be some point, because of these new regulations, the state might offer advisement on how school systems should move forward? Thank you.
Well, Dr. Marsh, let me just take this. Kenny, from the standpoint of, I do feel strong, and I think we made the right move. I really do, from the standpoint of local control on this. And as we were moving through the local control, really and truly the counties that were the least affected and everything, as they, as we were moving along, that, from the standpoint, the county boards, had to really answer to the folks that they were looking after and everything, whether it be the schools or whatever it was. And so within all that, we slowly migrated across the spectrum and everything to where we had all the counties, went to a mask mandate. They know what's best. They know absolutely what's best in their counties. And so from the standpoint of doing a blanket, situation where we took away any mask mandates that they have, I really still believe that first and foremost it would have to come from the State Department of Education and everything, and then it'll ultimately flow through me. But my feelings are this, Kenny, and here would be my recommendation. As we move forward with this vaccine, really and truly, I honestly don't think that we really need to continue down the path of having a mask mandate with the schools. I really believe, now I want to be first and foremost to say we want to be super respectful, to all the school systems and to all the counties that are doing the things that they're doing. But as we move forward with this, and I think we're still out a few weeks, but if we continue to decline, as I'm very, very hopeful that we're going to do in West Virginia with the deaths and with the number of people that are hospitalized, and we get through part of the coldness and everything to just see how this is going to impact us and everything, from my standpoint, there could very well be an opportunity, and I want to leave it that way. There could very well be an opportunity to revisit and look at, from the school standpoint on a local level, I really believe that there could be an opportunity to revisit and look at requirement of masks to our kids. So I think that'll be done. I think it'll be done on a local level, and I'll support the local people's decision, but I want us to not just up and run with it and say Justice thinks, that we don't need this or that and everything. Justice isn't saying that, is he? What Justice is saying is, in his opinion, I'm very, very hopeful that as we go forward, that there is a real opportunity to revisit this. And from my standpoint, I think what's going to happen is the numbers are going to drop. And as the numbers drop, if we'll really get aggressive at being able to get our 5 through 11-year-olds vaccinated, there may very well be a real opportunity for us to revisit and look from the standpoint of having to require our kids to wear masks in schools. So I think there's an opportunity. I think there's an opportunity to look at it and revisit, but the opportunity all lies in how many do we get vaccinated. If we get an overwhelming response and they get it vaccinated, that's great. And then absolutely, if we address and look at what's the impact going to be on Thanksgiving, what's the impact going to be on cold weather, and really and truly then look at it at that point in time, I think there's a real opportunity to look at it.
All right, thank you, Kenny. Next to Mark Curtis with the Next Star Media.
Good afternoon, Governor and cabinet members and fellow reporters. I noticed in today's numbers 6,600 active cases, and we have 6,500 Delta variant cases. Are we at the point right now where almost all of our new cases are Delta variants? I mean, approximately what's the percentage? And what's your concern about that, especially Dr. Marsh?
I think Dr. Marsh, tell us.
Well, Mark, thank you, and thank you, Governor. We have basically had almost every case for the last several weeks to over, last month and a half be the Delta variant. We were seeing the Alpha variant, the United Kingdom variant, be the dominant one before the Delta variant, or the variant that started in the country of India, come to the United States and to West Virginia. And Mark, we know that is the most transmissible form of COVID-19 that we've seen today. And Dr. Rochelle Walensky, who is the director of the Centers for Disease Control and an infectious disease doctor, said that the Delta variant is one of the most highly transmissible respiratory infections that she's ever seen in her career as an infectious disease specialist. So we know that the Delta variant is highly transmissible, packaged in over 1,000 times higher concentration in the droplets and the aerosols that are displayed. So the inoculum dose to people much greater. Reproductive value is 5 to 8 versus the initial reproductive value, the transmissibility, how many people one person can infect. One person can infect 5 to 8 new people with the Delta variant versus one person infecting about 2.3 to 2.7 people with the initial variant from Wuhan, China. So as long as the Delta variant remains, we have our treatment and our approaches and our prevention really directed toward this variant at this point with the vaccines, the monoclonal antibodies, the testing, the mitigation measures that people are still taking. And we're always watching very, very carefully to see if another variant starts to take away some of that market share from the Delta variant. If we see a new variant that becomes the dominant variant, then we become very worried then about how that happened, because it really means that that new variant would be more capable than the Delta variant. And the Delta variant is one of the most capable respiratory viruses we've seen in our lifetime. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Next, we'll go to Paul Mullen with WCBC.
Good afternoon, Governor. Good afternoon, panel. Governor, I will note that Jacob was more afraid of getting white hair than he was of getting the shot. The other thing I'd point out, or I'd like to talk to Dr. McCauley about getting a young child the vaccine. What kind of preparation should you do as a parent before bringing them in to get a shot? And afterwards, what kind of reaction do you suspect they're going to get, and what would be the best way to treat that? Thank you.
Good question. So as a parent and also a maternal child health physician, I see a lot of kids. So I like to talk to my parents about just being honest. I don't really like to bring kids in and throw it on them. I like to have the conversation. The parents start that conversation. I started the conversation with my children as soon as vaccines were made available for adults, that this will be available for you someday. This is how we can help to get rid of COVID altogether. This is how we can be a better steward of our community, a better steward for each other, and get to go to Disney World again. So I like to have parents be very honest. They will always ask questions. Kids are going to have questions. So will it hurt? It will a little bit. But it'll hurt more the day after, and that's okay. And I have medicine for you. It won't hurt much when you get it. You'll get to pick out a prize and maybe a special treat.
I think that's great. And Doc, I'm glad you stayed on and everything. We really appreciate you, sharing those views with us. And, Paul, it's all how it's presented and everything. And I really feel like that our kids, our kids will buy in. It's absolutely painless almost, and really, but it's a message that it's really got to start coming from our parents and coming from our healthcare, workers and everything. And let's hope the rollout's really, really good.
All right, thank you, Paul. Next to Candace Black with Ogden Newspapers.
Hi, thank you so much. I had kind of a dual part question for Governor Justice and Dr. Marsh. Can you tell us about the importance of people getting the flu vaccine? Obviously, it's something that we like to stress every year, especially with the cold weather coming. We know that the COVID vaccines are going to be the best way to prevent COVID, but do flu vaccines have any way of kind of boosting overall immunity or anything like that that can help keep people healthy? And also, what are some hopes with the booster shots as far as statistics around the state? Thank you.
Okay, Doc, let me just say one thing, and then I'm going to defer to you because Dr. Marsh said this because I know you and Dr. Amjad know so much more about this than I. But just think, I'm the guy that just makes it really, really point blank to understand. Just think about this just 1 second. You know, if you're healthy, you feel good, you're strong and everything, the odds are you'll be able to surely withstand if you would happen to get this terrible Delta variant. But as you're strong and healthy and your lungs are in great shape and everything, the odds of you not getting this are absolutely substantially greater in my mind than if you were to not get your flu shot and you were to get drugged down with the flu. Now, if you're drugged down with the flu, what are the odds of you maybe getting COVID or getting the Delta variant and then being in a world of trouble? A world of trouble. So you see, from my standpoint, it's real simple. And that's all there is to it. You best better stay strong and stay away from getting sick. And the flu is only getting sick because by having the flu, you're weakened. And if you're weakened, it only makes common sense that if you then were to get COVID on top of that, you'd be in real trouble. Now that's my 2 cents, and that's maybe dumbing it down and not really making it from the medical community, but from my standpoint, you best better stay strong right now. You cannot get yourself in a weakened state. And absolutely, if you don't get your flu shots, you can get yourself into a weakened state. And if you get into that and you get COVID, you're in trouble. Okay, that's my 2 cents, Doc. Take over.
Well, thank you, Governor, and I'll make a couple of comments, and then I'll ask if you have anything else you'd like to add. So as the governor said, we know that last year we had a very mild flu season, and that was because many people were separated and we were very much following very strict mitigation measures with masks and distancing and all that. This year, we are coming back together, and so we are very worried about a more problematic flu season. So getting your flu vaccine is really important. The flu vaccine protects people from the severe consequences of getting influenza. And the question was, would the flu vaccine augment the COVID vaccine? And the answer is it does not appear to, but it does not appear to interfere with it either. So both vaccines are really important to get. You can get both vaccines at once. You don't have to wait to get one vaccine and then another, get it in separate arms, but getting the flu vaccine really important. To date, we have given booster shots to 45,444 West Virginians, and we've given a total of over 1.9 million vaccines. So that means that there's many people out there that still haven't gotten the booster shot. And as we have talked about on previous press briefs, the FDA and the CDC has given the thumbs up that people can get whichever booster shot that they choose to get. We would recommend that if you got 2 doses of Moderna, get a 3rd dose of Moderna. If you got 2 doses of Pfizer, get a 3rd dose of Pfizer. But if you got a single dose of Johnson & Johnson, I would recommend that you choose an mRNA vaccine, probably Moderna and Pfizer in that order based on the clinical studies. The Moderna vaccine, as we've talked about, is half the dose of the initial 2 vaccine series. It's 50 micrograms as opposed to 100 micrograms. And the Pfizer vaccine is the full dose. The 30 micrograms of Pfizer, which is the first and second shot, is the same dose as the booster. We know from the Israeli study that I just talked about that boosters 5 months after the first 2 vaccines with Pfizer are remarkably effective. And so there should be no reason why people who are in West Virginia who've gotten fully vaccinated, who are over 18 years old, should not be enthusiastically going out and getting a booster shot at this point. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Candace. Next, we'll go to David Beard with the Dominion Post.
Hi, I've haven't been able to tune into the sessions for a while, so my question comes later than I hoped, but I think it's still relevant. It comes from the debate on in both legislative chambers on the vaccine exemption bill that takes effect in January, and particularly the religious exemptions. the discussion was that businesses have in place processes to validate the person's religious claims and make sure that they're true. And the bill is so broad that it's pretty generic. Bob Beerbelly could say, "I worship Bud Light," and go down to the notary office and get an exemption. And the notary, all he's going to do is look at Bob's driver's license and verify that he is in fact Bob Beerbelly, and the business has to honor that. So I'll just summarize the concerns that were raised into three, I guess, broad categories. One, that it undermines existing business practices. Two, that it potentially out of step with existing federal and state regulations. And three, that it could open the door for litigation and potential loss of Medicare and Medicaid funding. I wonder if we could address those concerns that were raised. Thanks.
Secretary Crouch, I don't know why today, but I'm having trouble, hearing, the questions and everything. Can you answer that? You're on mute, Bill.
Governor, thank you. There we are. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, David. Yes, the legislature did pass some a law that may be in conflict with federal statutes. So, as you said, there may be lawsuits with regard to this bill. It goes into effect in January, so we're hoping things get sorted out a little more before we get there. We certainly understand the concerns. People have a right, and there have always been exemptions for religious individuals who claim that, and for medical exemptions. So we honor those and have always honored those. The issue may be in terms of the interpretation of those as we go forward. We'll have more on that as we approach January. Thank you, David.
All right, thank you, David. Next to June Leffler with West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Hello, good afternoon, Governor and panel. I just want to go back to the child vaccinations. So from our medical experts, I'm wondering, does every child need to get this vaccine? Are there some exemptions of children that for some reason shouldn't? And are there certain children that are more vulnerable to the effects of COVID-19? Is it like adults where, if your child is overweight, they should go get the vaccine quicker than, some of their classmates? And can we also get a sense of, how many kids are being hospitalized in the state with COVID-19? Thank you.
I think, Dr. Marsh, you've got to answer it. Gene, I would add just one thing, and I caught this statistic or number last night, but of kids across the country, I think that, that it was reported that 120 some kids have died. And, losing one adult is terrible, but losing a child is unbelievable, and so 120 some have died, and so that's it's not good. But maybe Dr. Marsh or Dr. Amjad, maybe you could, help with June's question first, please.
Yes, Governor, sure, Jen. To answer, I'll start with some of those questions. There's not a tier rollout, like certain children should get it first. You're asking if children who are obese, for example, should go out and get it first. It's recommended for all children to go out. So there's not a tiered approach as we, recommended before, like certain adults who have higher risk should go out and get it first. We would like all children to go out and get the vaccine. As far as any children who should not get the vaccine, that is a conversation that a parent should have with a pediatrician. If there's a child who's perhaps on a medication, for example, maybe there's a child who is undergoing chemotherapy right now, or who's on a certain medication, that maybe perhaps it's not the right time for them to have the COVID vaccine right now, that would be a one-to-one conversation that we'd want the parent to have with their doctor at this time. To answer your question, there are not many children right now in the hospitals with COVID-19. However, Those numbers also we have provided, and we don't necessarily always publish those on a dashboard like we do with other numbers. That's not to say, though, that there are not children with cases for COVID-19. That is on our dashboard. So we still see children with cases for COVID-19, however, they might not be hospitalized. We do want to remind people, though, that symptoms of long COVID in children are not something that we want to see, which is also why we want people to consider the vaccine for their children, because long COVID are seen in children as well. And those are things we want people to consider. But I don't know if Dr. Marsh or Clay has anything to add.
I think you covered it well, Ian. Thank you.
All right, thank you, June. Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Well, Charles brought up, the possibility of another incentive program, and and I promised him that Monday we'll have that roll out. It'll probably be Baby Dog 3, and we'll do something, with her, with these younger kids, and we'll do that. And the other thing is, I think Kenny asked, the question, about, is there a possibility of easing the mask requirement that's been passed on a local level, on our county by counties with our schools? And I'm very hopeful. I'm very, very hopeful about that, because if this variant, if what happens is we get days ahead of us or weeks ahead of us right now, and the numbers keep getting better and better, and we really have a strong rollout with our 5 to 11 year olds on vaccinations and everything. In this job, you've got to be cautious, and you've got to tell the people the truth, but you still got to be hopeful. And it's my hope and prayers that we can move closer and closer to normalcy as we possibly can. Now, we want to be still on guard, and as we go forward with all that. And I think from the standpoint that Secretary Crouch, I think David was asking a question I couldn't quite understand exactly all the stuff he was asking about. My feelings, David, are rock solid. I sent the bill up. I stand rock solid behind the feeling that from the standpoint, I want everybody to get vaccinated, but at the same time, I truly believe that this country was founded upon our freedoms, and I don't think it's constitutionally sound, to say that if someone has a religious belief and everything, and that draws them towards they do not want to take this, this vaccination and everything, or they have a medical exemption that draws them towards they don't think that they should be taking the vaccination. I do not think that we should be terminating people in their jobs, because of their individual beliefs. And so with all that, I think what we did, is I sent the bill up. I'm very proud that I sent it up, and the legislature follows suit, and it goes into effect in January. But hopefully it'll be a moot point. Wouldn't it be just wonderful that we get out to January and really and truly we're doing better and better and better? And that's what I'm going to remain hopeful. I'm going to remain cautious, but at the same time, I sure hope and pray that at some point in time this thing breaks and goes the other way to where we can get more and more closer back to normalcy. Anyway, nevertheless, thank you so much. Oh, I've got one more thing. I just wrote down just a second here, and I congratulate Glenn Youngkin, and in Virginia, he's the new Virginia governor, and we welcome him and everything. And to be perfectly honest, I truly believe that he's way on more point with what I feel like are the values that we should be giving to our kids, our parents. We should be listening to our parents and not mandating over and over and over different things. And so no, I really congratulate him. I've not had the opportunity to meet him myself, but I know he's going to do a great job, and I love it from the fact that he's not a career per se politician. He's bringing something to the table from from his, business career, and it sounds awfully familiar with me. So naturally, I love to see that, and wish him the very, very best. Anyway, nevertheless, thank y'all so much.